Listen, you want to be here watching Duff and Boys.
A story that maybe some of you guys don't know about, and this concerns Duff McKagan and the television show The Simpsons. Now, I think like a lot of you guys and girls watching this, I grew up during the early 90s, and The Simpsons were really a staple of television back then. I remember being a kid, and it's kind of funny to think back then, you know, The Simpsons was considered really controversial. Some of my friends weren't allowed to watch the show because it was deemed too adult. And The Simpsons was really at its creative peak, I would say, in the early 90s to mid-90s. And even into the early 2000s, I still watched the show. It wasn't until I got to college that I stopped watching it because it just wasn't that good and it sort of became mediocre. And this is proven by The Simpsons' viewership over time. As you can see, it's been a pretty steady decline. It wasn't until 2003 or 2004 that I stopped watching the show, or at least stopped watching new episodes. And then I found as I've gotten older and I'm in my 30s, I've been a little bit more nostalgic, so I've been going and watching clips on YouTube, and I kind of forgot how good The Simpsons really used to be. And it got me thinking, hey, I should talk about the time that Duff McKagan claimed that The Simpsons wanted to use his name as an inspiration behind the beer on the show, which is called Duff Beer, and the controversy that sort of ensued and the war of words that ensued between Duff and the creator of the show, Matt Groening. So it all started in late 2011. Duff McKagan was putting out his first book, It's So Easy and Other Lies, and there was an excerpt that had gotten online that talked about The Simpsons. So he wrote, "When Guns N' Roses began to break big into the public consciousness, I was known as a big drinker," writes McKagan in his book. "In 1988, MTV aired a concert in which Axl introduced me as Duff, the King of Beers McKagan. Soon after, a production company working on a new animated series called me to ask if they could use the name Duff for a brand of beer on the show. I laughed and said, of course, no problem," McKagan continues. "The whole thing sounded like a low-rent art project or something. I mean, who made cartoons for adults? Little did I know that the show would become The Simpsons, and within a few years I would start to see Duff beer glasses and gear everywhere we toured." Now, Duff McKagan would not only repeat this story in his book, he also wrote it in an ESPN.com column he wrote. He said, "My name is Duff McKagan and I play rock and roll music. The beer on The Simpsons show was named after me and not the other way around. I suppose it is a testament to how much alcohol I used to drink. Yeah, not too sexy, really." In addition to that, one of those generically crappy radio station blogs quoted him in an unlinked interview saying, "Our management for GNR got a fax, but it was like an adult cartoon." Now, there wasn't any adult cartoons in 1988. There just wasn't like an adult cartoon. They wanted to use your name as the name of the beer on the thing, and they just wanted your blessing. It's not like I own the name Duff. I should have trademarked that thing on up if I would have known. But yeah, the thing took off, that Simpsons deal. So not too long after that, in 2012, Simpsons creator Matt Groening and Al Jean were chatting about Duff, his story about how Duff Beer was named after him, and they laughed it off as absurd. And then not too long after that, Duff appeared on Loudwire's Wikipedia Fact or Fiction, where they asked him about the Simpsons creators calling his claim absurd, and he's still stuck by his story. In 2018, one of the Simpsons writers revealed how they came up with the idea of Duff Beer and the true origin of it. So in the new book, Springfield Confidential, the longtime writer, producer, and prior showrunner of The Simpsons, Mike Rice, dispensed plenty of inside information on the longest-running network television show in America. Some of the intel includes backstories on a number of character names and product names. So there's been a myth circulating about Duff Beer that Homer Simpson's favorite cold one is named after Guns N' Roses bassist Duff McKagan, based on McKagan's own statements on the matter of his memoir, It's So Easy and Other Lies. But as Reese now notes, maybe we should be paying more attention to the title of the book to begin with, because the beer name doesn't actually have anything to do with the musician after all. Instead, his claim is it's just a cute fake story. He said we needed a name for Homer's favorite beer, and Jay Kogan came up with Duff. Rice writes in a piece excerpted from Entertainment Weekly, referencing fellow former Simpsons producer Kogan. "No, it was not named after Duff McKagan, bassist for Guns N' Roses. We never heard of this guy." So McKagan, in another interview he did in 2012, about a year after his book came out, claimed that he could have made a fortune off of the royalties had he gotten something in writing allowing the Simpsons to use his name for their beer. "I knew nothing about branding yourself then or the royalties off of it. I just thought, cool, they want to use my name, and boom, The Simpsons was born. Yeah, if I had a nickel for every time, but it's fine." So a couple of years after this spat happened between Duff McKagan and the creators of The Simpsons, it looked like Duff Beer was going to be sold in liquor stores. So apparently there was a bunch of different bootlegs versions of Duff Beer being sold in South America. But according to the Wall Street Journal, the beer was going to launch in Chile, where rogue Duff beers have been rising in the market. So the company tried to crack down on unauthorized versions, but police seized thousands of bottles. But now if Duff Beer goes from fiction to reality, the company could still claim the trademark on it. And what started as a battle over intellectual property may soon become an international business. So Jeff Godsick, the president of 20th Century Fox Consumer Products Division, said the brew could go global. I think there's potential to have Duff everywhere in the world. Does that include Canada as well? It was still too early to tell, but Fox hasn't responded for comment as to whether it would come to Canada, but they were looking to go beyond Chile to more of South America and Europe by early next year. Expansion to North America appears hasn't been ruled out. And currently, visitors to Universal Studios in Florida can try Homer's favorite beer at the Duff Brewery Garden in the park. So that does it for this episode of Guns N' Roses True Story. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts down below. And are you guys still fans of The Simpsons? Do you still watch the show? Or were you like me? Did you watch it a long time ago and just haven't revisited it? So thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And be sure to subscribe if you love Guns N' Roses as much as I do. If you guys want to read the links to any of the stories, they're all down below. Make sure you guys have yourself a good day, and be sure to go follow GNRCentral.com for the latest and greatest Guns N' Roses news. Take care.
Hey, this is Dizzy Reed from Guns N' Roses, and you're watching GNR Central. Yeah!